Good morning and welcome to YouGTP. Before we settle in, here are the headlines moving the next 24 hours. OpenAI is reportedly in early talks to give the U.S. government a 5% stake in the company. CEO Sam Altman has pitched the idea to President Trump, Commerce Secretary Lutnick, and Treasury Secretary Bessent, arguing it would share the benefits of AI and that other firms should do the same. Microsoft is committing $2.5 billion and 6,000 employees to a new subsidiary called Microsoft Frontier Company, dedicated to embedding engineers directly with clients to implement AI. It follows similar moves by Amazon, Anthropic, and OpenAI. IBM has unveiled a breakthrough sub-1 nanometer chip. Using a nanostack 3D architecture, it packs about 100 billion transistors onto a fingernail-sized surface, with up to 50% more performance and 70% better energy efficiency than its previous chip. The White House is reportedly in advanced talks with AI companies on voluntary standards and release timelines for new models, with an announcement expected as soon as next week. And Fable 5 has been fully restored after 20 days of export controls. Those are the headlines. Now, the story behind the story. I'm your host, and this is YouGTP, the calm, clear breakdown of what's happening across artificial intelligence, computing, and energy. Today is Thursday, July 2nd. And today's stories all share one thread. The people who govern AI, the people who deploy it, and the people who build its chips, they're all formalizing their grip on the technology. The government wants a seat at the table. Literally. Let's walk through it together. Let's start with the headline that stopped everyone in their tracks. OpenAI is in early talks to give the U.S. government a 5% ownership stake in the company. According to The Guardian, CEO Sam Altman has spent the past year pitching the idea and has now put it directly to President Trump, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. At OpenAI's reported $852 billion valuation, a 5% stake would be worth roughly $42.6 billion. Altman's argument is that it would share the benefits of AI with the public, and crucially, he wants other AI firms to do something similar. So this isn't just about OpenAI. It's a proposal to restructure who owns the most valuable technology on Earth. Whether it happens or not, it signals a profound shift. The frontier labs are inviting the government in, not because they have to, but because the political and security landscape now demands it. And the government isn't the only one getting closer to the action. Microsoft announced Thursday it's investing $2.5 billion into a new subsidiary called Microsoft Frontier Company, dedicated to helping clients actually implement AI. 6,000 employees, engineers, consultants, and salespeople will be embedded directly with clients in a practice called forward deployed engineering. Microsoft isn't just selling software anymore. It's selling the people who know how to make AI work inside your business. And it's racing rivals to do it. Amazon put $1 billion behind a similar initiative just 2 days earlier, and Anthropic and OpenAI both launched their own deployment groups in May. The signal here is unmistakable. The AI industry has realized that building the model is only half the battle. The other half is getting it to actually work inside a bank, a hospital, or a factory. And whoever owns that deployment layer, the humans who sit beside the customer, owns the real revenue. And as the companies embed with clients, the government is formalizing its own rules. Sources report the White House is in advanced talks with AI companies on voluntary standards and release timelines for new models. An announcement could come as soon as next week. This follows weeks of extraordinary government involvement, from the export controls on Anthropic's models, now lifted, to the gating of OpenAI's GPT 5.6 release. Put it all together with the stake offer, and a pattern emerges. This was the period the government stopped watching frontier AI from across the street and got a desk inside. Now from governance to the hardware underneath it all. IBM has unveiled a breakthrough that pushes chip manufacturing past the nanometer era and into the scale of atoms, the first ever sub-1 nanometer chip. Using what it calls a nanostack 3D architecture, IBM has produced a chip measuring 0.7 nanometers, packing about 100 billion transistors onto a surface the size of a fingernail. That's nearly double the density of its previous 2-nanometer chip, launched just 2 years ago. The payoff is enormous for AI. IBM projects up to 50% more performance and a 70% improvement in energy efficiency. Jay Gambetta, director of IBM Research, said they're not just making smaller transistors, they're reinventing how chips are built. Now, commercial production is still years away. But the message is clear. The physical limits of silicon are not a wall. They're a design problem, and the frontier is now measured in atoms. And one more thread ties the governance story together. Fable 5, the model at the center of the export control crisis, is now fully restored, 20 days after the government pulled it offline. And here's the revealing part. The resolution came because Anthropic's own testing proved that other freely available models, Opus 4.8, GPT 5.5, and Kimi K2.7, could all reproduce the same exploit that triggered the original ban. In other words, the model that caused a global AI regulatory crisis was no more dangerous than models already freely available worldwide. The ban, in hindsight, couldn't have contained the capability it feared. Finally, the power to run all of this. As AI deployments scale, the energy story is becoming one of brute force engineering. Microsoft itself recently purchased 7 GE Vernova gas turbines for a Texas data center it's building with Chevron. And across the industry, batteries have become the essential bridge. Data centers now face an average of 4 years to get grid power, so developers are pairing gas turbines with massive battery arrays to go off-grid and deploy in months instead. The U.S. is projected to add over 24 gigawatts of battery storage this year alone. The thread through every story today is the same. AI isn't just being built. It's being embedded, governed, and powered at a scale that's reshaping the entire economy. So that's the shape of the day. OpenAI offered the government a piece of itself. Microsoft embedded 6,000 people with its clients. The White House moved to write the rules. IBM pushed chips to the atomic scale. And the model that sparked a regulatory crisis turned out to be no more dangerous than its peers. The thread through every story is unmistakable. AI's power is being formalized, not just built. The government, the deployers, and the chip makers are all locking in their positions. If this helped, subscribe so tomorrow's breakdown lands in your feed. Drop a comment on the story you want us to go deeper on. I'm your host. This has been YouGTP. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you tomorrow.